Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna backpack blower. This is a model 125BT. Customer complaint is that he broke the recoil rope. So anytime you have a broken recoil rope, I mean, there's a reason it broke, right? Sometimes that reason is just as simple as an old worn out rope. And other times it's a not so old. Dude, where'd you get that cookie? I want a cookie. Sometimes it's because the rope is worn out, and other times it's because there's a problem with the equipment and the customer pulled and pulled and pulled until he wore out a brand new rope. In this case, we don't know yet if there's a problem with the equipment. We won't know until we fix the recoil and see if it runs. So replacing the rope is actually pretty easy. Once the starter is removed from the equipment, there's just one screw that holds that pulley on the post of the cover. And you got to be kind of careful when you pull it out of there, because it does lock into the rewind spring, and if it's hooked on there tight, you can pull the whole spring out and make a big mess. For that reason, I recommend wearing safety glasses when working on rewinds, because there's a lot of energy stored in that spring, and the last thing you want to do is have to run to the emergency room because of some stupid spring on a blower caught you in the face. I always like to burn the ends of the rope to keep it from fraying. Find a rope that's the same diameter as the one you took out. We're going to assume that the one you take out is the factory original diameter. But if it looks ridiculously small and you know someone else worked on it, then find the biggest rope that you can fit in there and still have enough length to get a good pull on it. We're going to put a single overhand knot in the end of this rope, and that's what will hold it on the pulley. Bring me cookies? Nah, this dude ain't got no cookies. Alright, there's our rope in the pulley. We're going to pre-wind the rope on here. Okay, we push the end of the rope through the cover eyelet, and now we're going to drop the pulley into the spring. End of the spring has got a hook on it, and the back of the pulley has got a notch that has to line up in that hook. That doesn't always go together super easy. Sometimes you gotta use a little finesse to get those things to line up just right. And then we're going to put our, I'm going to call it a cushion spring. I don't know what it's actually called. And then the driver that catches the dogs on, or the paws on the starter. Now to test the length of the rope, I pulled it all the way out. And then I checked to make sure that you could still turn the pulley a little farther. Man, I would really love to put that wooden handle on there, just to see the reaction in the customer's face. We pull the rope all the way out to make sure that we're not bottoming the spring. When the rope's all the way out and stops, you should still be able to turn the pulley a little bit further, and that'll tell you that the spring isn't bound. This guy just needs to pick up handle, for crying out loud. This is like the like the kid at Halloween digging in the candy dish looking for just the right one, you know. Although I'm probably a little less excited about finding just the right pull handle than the kid, you know, digging looking for a Kit Kat bar or something at the bottom of a candy bowl. So we found a handle finally. We're going to pull the old rope out of it. You know, a lot of stuff ends up in the recycled dumpster, and sometimes the starter mechanisms aren't worth saving whole. So I'll just cut the handles off of them, and that's how I ended up with a collection. So that tells you that something came through the shop with that big wooden handle on it. I just had to save it. So on the handle end, you usually got to do a little bit more than just a single overhand knot. And here I did kind of a double. Sometimes you do a figure eight, whatever works for you. The point being, it's got to be big enough so it doesn't pull through the handle. Now we need tension on the rope to hold the handle in. And there's usually a notch on the pulley. And if you get the rope lined up with the notch, which is what I'm trying to do right now, I don't know why it's fighting me, then you can spin the pulley around and the rope will clear the cover. So we pulled the rope all the way out, and then we could still turn the pulley a little bit further. That tells us that with the rope all the way out, we're not binding the spring. So this blower's got this extra plate down here. I don't know exactly what it's for. I didn't examine it. I just lined it back up and put everything back together. Looks like some kind of support plate. I'm not sure why it's there. Maybe they had some problems in the past. When setting the starter on the engine, a lot of times you need to just give the rope a little bit of a pull to get the starter drive to clear the starter pawls. And once the starter's flush on the engine, then you can worry about torquing screws down. It's pretty important not to crank anything down without that starter cover being flush on the motor. And then we'll twist them down by hand. Don't forget the screw on the bottom. I mean, that's it. We're going to give it a test and see if the problem was with just the old rope or if there's an engine problem. So that's all I got for you on the Husqvarna backpack blower re-rope. Thanks for watching. Later.